If you're over 60 and waking up tired even after a full night's sleep, I want you to pause for a moment. Not because you're lazy, not because you're weak, but because this one quiet change, something most men dismiss as just age, can quietly affect performance, desire, and confidence in ways no one ever explains properly. Stay with me, because what you're about to hear isn't about embarrassment or blame. It's about understanding a hidden connection most men don't see until much later, and what you can calmly do about it. Waking up tired after 60 feels almost normal. You open your eyes, the room is quiet, the day hasn't started yet, and yet your body already feels like it's halfway through a long shift. Many men shrug it off. They say, "This is just what aging feels like." But here's the uncomfortable truth. Deep, persistent morning fatigue is not just about sleep length, and it's not always about age. It's often a signal that something underneath, something connected to blood flow, hormones, and recovery, is no longer working as smoothly registration it once did. Think about how mornings used to feel. Even if you slept fewer hours, there was a sense of readiness, a spark, a physical alertness. Now, for many men over 60, mornings feel heavy. The body takes longer to respond. Energy comes later, if at all. And along with that fatigue, other changes quietly appear. Desire feels muted. Performance becomes less predictable. Confidence starts to feel fragile, even if you don't talk about it. Have you ever asked yourself why these things often show up together? Here's where it gets interesting. The body doesn't separate sleep, energy, and intimate health into different compartments. They're part of the same system. When one part struggles, the others feel it. And sleep, real, restorative sleep, is one of the most important regulators of male vitality after 60. But most men misunderstand what sleep problems actually mean. It's not always about how many hours you're in bed. You might be lying down for 7 or 8 hours and still waking up exhausted. The issue is often what's happening inside your body while you're asleep. Light sleep instead of deep sleep. Frequent micro-awakenings you barely remember. Breathing that becomes shallow or interrupted. Stress hormones staying high when they should be falling. All of this quietly interferes with recovery. And recovery is everything. During deep sleep, the body repairs blood vessels. It balances hormones. It resets the nervous system. When deep sleep is reduced, blood flow becomes less responsive. Testosterone levels can drift lower. Stress hormones like cortisol stay elevated. Elevated cortisol tightens blood vessels, and tight vessels don't deliver blood efficiently. That's not a moral failure, it's physiology. So when a man over 60 wakes up tired, what he's often feeling isn't just poor sleep. He's feeling the downstream effects of reduced circulation and incomplete recovery. And because intimate performance relies on precise blood flow and nervous system balance, it's often one of the first areas to reflect that imbalance. This is the part most men never hear explained clearly. Performance changes don't start in the bedroom. They often start at night. Let's talk about a very common pattern. You go to bed tired, but your mind won't fully shut down. You wake up once or twice to use the bathroom. You turn over, check the clock, fall back asleep lightly. In the morning, you feel unrefreshed. Over time, this becomes routine, and slowly, your body adapts to functioning in a semi-recovered state. Have you noticed how everything feels harder when you don't sleep deeply? Now add stress into the mix. Stress after 60 doesn't always feel dramatic. It can be quiet. Financial concerns, health worries, family responsibilities, a sense of time moving faster than before. The body interprets all of this as a signal to stay alert. Alert bodies don't fully relax at night, and bodies that don't relax don't recover. Here's a simple metaphor. Imagine your body as a battery that's supposed to fully recharge every night. When sleep is shallow, the battery only charges to 60 or 70%. You can still function, but you're running on reserve. Over time, that reserve shrinks. And when the body is conserving energy, it prioritizes survival over pleasure. Vitality becomes optional. Performance becomes inconsistent. Is it starting to connect? There's another layer most men miss: oxygen and breathing during sleep. As men age, changes in muscle tone and airway structure can affect breathing at night. You may not snore loudly. You may not wake up gasping. But even subtle breathing disruptions can fragment sleep and reduce oxygen delivery. Lower oxygen at night means less tissue repair and less efficient blood flow the next day. And again, intimate health is sensitive to these changes. Before we go further, let me say this clearly and responsibly. If you ever experience chest pain, severe shortness of breath, or sudden new symptoms, seek urgent medical care. And if you take heart or blood pressure medications or have diabetes, talk to your clinician before making major changes. This isn't about ignoring medicine. It's about understanding your body safely. Now, let's talk about what you can actually do, calmly and realistically. The goal is not to chase youth. The goal is to restore rhythm. Start with evenings. What you do in the last 2 hours before bed matters more after 60 than it did at 40. Heavy meals late at night force the body to digest when it should be repairing. Alcohol may feel relaxing, but it fragments deep sleep and raises nighttime stress hormones. Bright screens tell the brain to stay alert. Small adjustments here can dramatically change sleep quality. Have you ever noticed how differently you feel after a calm evening versus a rushed one? Next, look at movement. But not the way most people talk about it. You don't need extreme workouts. In fact, intense exercise too late in the day can raise stress hormones at night. What helps most is consistent, moderate movement earlier in the day. Walking, light strength work, mobility exercises. These improve circulation, lower stress, and make it easier for the body to enter deep sleep later. Hydration also plays a quiet role. Many men reduce fluids to avoid nighttime bathroom trips. The result is thicker blood and less efficient circulation. The smarter approach is spreading hydration earlier in the day and tapering gently in the evening, not cutting it off entirely. Now here's a pattern break you may not expect. Morning fatigue is not always a reason to push harder. Sometimes it's a reason to slow down strategically. When you wake up tired, notice your body's signals instead of fighting them. Gentle movement in the morning can improve circulation without spiking stress. Deep, slow breathing can lower cortisol and improve blood flow. These small rituals tell the nervous system that it's safe to shift out of alert mode. This is where things start to flip. As sleep quality improves, even slightly, men often notice changes they didn't expect. Morning energy becomes more stable. Desire feels more present. Performance becomes less unpredictable. Confidence returns quietly without forcing anything. And here's the deeper truth most men never connect. Intimate health after 60 is not about effort. It's about alignment. When sleep, stress, and circulation align, the body responds naturally. When they don't, no amount of willpower can override biology. Think about how much pressure men put on themselves. Pressure to perform, pressure to feel a certain way, pressure to hide changes. That pressure itself raises stress hormones, which further interferes with sleep and blood flow. It becomes a loop. Breaking the loop starts with understanding, not pushing. Have you noticed how relief alone can change how the body responds? This is the climax of the conversation. The reason waking up tired matters so much is because it's one of the earliest, clearest signals that recovery is compromised. And recovery is the foundation of vitality. Ignore it, and other areas quietly follow. Address it, and many things improve together. You don't need drastic solutions. You need consistent signals to your body that it's safe to recover. Protect your sleep window. Calm your evenings. Move your body with intention. Breathe deeply. Eat in ways that don't spike stress late at night. Pay attention to patterns instead of isolated moments. And most importantly, stop blaming yourself. Aging changes the rules, but it doesn't remove control. Men who age well aren't the ones who deny change. They're the ones who respond early, calmly, and intelligently. If you've been waking up tired and wondering why things feel different, take this as information, not failure. Your body is communicating. And when you listen, you give yourself the best chance to preserve vitality, confidence, and intimacy on your terms. That's not about going backwards. That's about aging forward with awareness and strength.